What up, YouTubers? It's your boy, the Visioner, and welcome to another episode of Firesidechats Preludes, bringing you the latest and current events and news that matters to me the most. Three topics I want to talk about real quick. The first one is the Snowden saga continues as he leaks new information which enrages the leaders of the EU and Germany on the US spying on officials over there. I've said this in another video, just on the surface right now, yes, this looks bad. He's leaking more and more information, and the U.S. is starting to look more and more like a big fucking tyrannical fucking government. We all know this, but again, I have to say this, my disclaimer is that the caveat to this is that, to me, this all feels like it's a distraction, you know what I mean? It's a carefully planted psyop. It's controlled leak, you know what I mean? Because all he's doing is releasing information that we've already known about. You could have found out about this if you read the newspapers, go on the news, you know, CNN or C-SPAN, because they talk about this stuff. There's another dude who was the head of the NSA who was explaining, yo, the NSA is overstepping its boundaries. So what he's releasing is nothing big. This story in and of itself, this next part of the saga, again, it's just, to me, it's nothing more than a smoke screen. Don't get pulled into it because there's other things that's happening all over the world. Specifically, what's happening in Syria. You haven't been hearing anything about Syria. The fact that we're sending actual physical troops over there to augment the Al-Qaeda backed Syrian rebel army group or whatever, who the fuck these rebels are that are fighting against the Assad regime. That people need to look into that. The Snowden saga, that's what I call it. Don't be super fooled by it. Read it, look into it just a little bit. Just know it exists, and then pay attention to what's not being talked about in the news. My rule of thumb is whatever is being put into the public media and constantly brought up and turned into a saga, that's what they want you to pay attention to, and then they want you to ignore all the more important shit that's about to happen or that's happening right now. So don't pay attention to that shit. That's my opinion on it. Topic number 2, protests in Egypt explodes as protesters shout for Morsi to step down. This is a big story to me because, number one, Morsi was a U.S.-backed leader or political puppet put into power in Egypt, and he's connected and associated with the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, most people don't understand what the Muslim Brotherhood is. Like, the general backstory is that supposedly this was an organization that was, like, created in, like, the 70s or 80s or some shit like that. A little bit before the time Osama bin Laden came into power and he, you know, became the head of Al-Qaeda and all that shit. But supposedly and to me, I'm gonna tell you the backstory to why this is bullshit to me. So supposedly this organization rose as a deterrent against Western imperialism, and they wanted to spread the Caliph, or, you know, Muslim superiority around the world. So they basically cemented themselves in all the Middle Eastern countries, and they were part of the war against terror. Now, what happened is that as the war continued from 2001 and onward, they became more of a political force, and in and of itself became a political organization. The U.S. basically going, you know what, we have to make friends with our supposed enemies in the Middle East, said, you know what, we're going to, like, come to the table with these guys, talk politics with them, and see if we can put them into power once the present government in Egypt is removed or taken down, or whatever the case may be. So basically they work with them and help them to gain power, so that once the U.S. leaves in all parts of certain Middle Eastern countries, the Muslim Brotherhood will come in as the Arabic or Muslim face of Western imperialism in the Middle East. That's basically what it is. The backstory, but talking about these guys came from like 1970s. That's the origin of it's bullshit, because what happens is that we really found out about the Muslim Brotherhood in a document that was produced, I think, in 2011 or 12 or something like that, as part of the propaganda. This is coming from me. This is the disclaimer, the caveat. It's coming from me. It was part of a propaganda piece that they tried to prop up when Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, those names didn't strike any more fear in the hearts of the American people and people all over the world. So they came up with this grand Arab Muslim conspiracy to take over the world in the form of the Muslim Brotherhood. Then the whole story got switched around to the point where we are now working with them to help solidify or to stabilize certain Middle Eastern countries that we helped to destabilize in the first place. Period. Look into that right now, because now the people are kind of like, from what I'm looking at and from what it looks like to me, it seems like the people are rising up to be like, yo, listen, we know who you are, we know who you work for, we know you're a puppet of the West, and we know the Muslim Brotherhood is a puppet of the West. Get the fuck out of here, we don't want you here, period. Yada, yada, yada. Very important topic, stay on top of that one. Topic number 3, the New York City will be holding a terror drill hosted by the MTA and the NYPD to test out how a biological agent will travel throughout the MTA system, the train station. Basically, they want to hold a biologically based terror drill in the MTA system and see how a non-toxic, non-lethal, whatever gas or biological agent would travel throughout the system and so on and so forth, and then they would put troops on the ground to enact scenarios on how to counteract the spread of whatever the fuck it is they're releasing to the subway system. Now, to me, I think this is a big no-no. They should not do this fucking shit. This is wrong. We didn't vote on this shit, period. We do not need a fucking test for shit, because you are the ones that are causing the fucking mess in the first place. All this is to me is that whenever I hear the word drill, whenever the government or whenever some sort of official government organization decides, you know, we're going to hold a drill, usually what happens is when that drill happens, the drill turns real. Period. Like, get that through your head. The drill turns real, and people need to understand, yo, don't trust these motherfuckers. Do not do the drill. There's an actual march that's happening. I think the drill is going to be from July 1st to some... I forgot the last date. I'm going to find out more about it later. Keep yourself tuned in, because I'm going to do another video on this specifically, on the concept of drills and terrorist plots. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for that. That's it for now. Take care. Peace.